I'm so glad you could join us today. I've got messages when you want them.
Mm,
I also checked out Kazanu. There are multiple listings in the white pages. I got the page, but you'll have to figure out the right one.
great, thanks.
Now, are you going to tell me what happened yesterday with Malia Getty, or is it just too embarrassing?
Hmm.
Don't tell me you actually got to see her.
Are the stars out tonight?
Gabriel, you don't seriously think she's interested. She can have any man in the city. You know, men with bank accounts.
You underestimate the Knight family's tragic poet samurai appeal. When Daddy married Mom, she was the hottest catch in town.
Hmm. I always suspected there was something fishy in your family tree. But seriously, I think you should be careful.
Grace.
I'm serious. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about this.
It's called jealousy, my dear. And you're right. You should be jealous of Malia Getty, as should every woman on this planet.
Oh, never mind. I'll just fix these books. Your life is in your own slippery little hands.
The point is to get it into somebody else's hands. And soon.
Today's newspaper is on the counter. Gabriel cannot see any way to pick that up. Times-Picayune, dated June 20, 1993. Gabriel scans over an uninteresting front page. Under the cultural events section, there's a notice about a lecture on African religions. The lecture is at Tulane University. Gabriel's horoscope for the day. An evil eye is upon you. Change course before it's too late.
Lighten up. I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
I had a feeling you'd...
Really?
Please, be seated.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the wrong hands. I was trained by one of the great voodoo queens to learn how to hypnotize and handle snakes.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
Where'd you get Grimwald?
She belonged to a traveling reptile show. She was being terribly mistreated, so I offered to buy her. She's named after a spirit guide I had once. The spirit Grimwald was a very powerful female snake priestess in Egyptian times.
Grimwald doesn't sound Egyptian.
I only know what the spirits tell me. Monsieur, I am sure they know better than we.
How'd you learn to handle Grimwald?
I told you a great voodoo queen taught me. She learned from Marie Laveau herself.
Ah, fascinating. Would you consider giving me one of Grimwald's scales?
No, I couldn't do that. You might do some gree-gree of your own, no? One must be very careful with such things. Hair clippings, nail parings, and snake scale.
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
I won't make you wait, Monsieur Knight. No matter what you see, do not be frightened.
I'll give it my best shot.
Gabriel grabs the shed snake skin while Magenta is otherwise occupied.
They are truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it. Could I ask you,
Certainly. What about her?
tell me anything at all?
Well, you have to be careful when handling a snake. They're more delicate than they look.
I'll bet. Nothing.
All right.
Well, I guess I'll be gone now.
May the protection of the snake god go with you.
Thanks. Hi. Uh-huh.
There's no one there.
Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
Do you know anything?
Like the ones in the voodoo rituals they do for the...
Right.
I used to sell a few as souvenirs. The only one left is Willie Jr. over there. The old crocodile. Well, he's sort of a mascot now, him.
About Willie Jr., would you be willing to let him go?
Maybe. For $100.
$100? You gotta be kidding.
Me and Willie Jr. are very close now. I could part with him for less.
Would you
Don't insult me, Miss.
Lucy, I'm home.
Oh boy, party time.
got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Your pal Mosley called. He left a message that they're interrogating a suspect this morning and you might want to be there.
Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Do you have more messages for me?
That man from Germany called again, Wolfgang Ritter. Now he's claiming to be a relative of yours. I took down his number. If you change your mind and want to give him a call back, just ask me for it.
Can I get that phone number for Wolfgang Ritter?
Sure, I'll give it to you when we're done talking.
Do you have more?
I've given everything.
Could you do?
Sure.
I can't.
Okay. Here's that phone number.
Thanks.
This is the last page of inventory. It's customary to pick it up first. Gabriel's not. There's nothing there to operate.
Hello.
Hi, is this the Kazanu residence?
Yes. What can I do for you?
Do you or does anyone in your family patronize the Dixieland drugstore?
I'm a busy man. What are you selling?
Nothing.
Good. Goodbye.
Hello, Casanu residence?
Hi, I was wondering if you could help me.
Yeah?
A woman in the Dixieland drugstore dropped her purse today, and the name Kazanu was inside it.
Dixieland drugstore? Never heard of it. Sorry.
Hello?
Hello? I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
Cajun Critters Animal Clinic. This is Melissa.
Do you have a Madame Kazonu as a client?
Madame Kazanu? Sure, I know her. She's not now here right now.
Really? She told me she'd be there. Would you happen to have her address by any chance?
Yes, but I'm not sure I should give it out. Who are you again?
I'm worried about Castro. He's missed 3 dance lessons.
Castro? Her little doggy? Oh, he's so sweet. Well, I guess if you know Castro, it's okay. Her address is 345 Dauphine.
Thanks.
It's customary. The number written on the note is 4909 324 3333.
Lanny's Pizza. May I take your order?
Shit.
Please hang up and try your call again. This is a recording.
The number written on the note is 49. Does not.
Guten Tag, Sie haben Schloss Ritter erreicht?
I'm looking for Wolfgang Ritter.
Ja, einen Moment.
Yeah, is this Gabriel on the phone?
This is Gabriel Knight. Why are you calling me, Mr. Ritter?
I have been having premonitions of great danger for you, Gabriel. You must leave New Orleans this very day.
What the hell are you talking about?
It is hard to explain on the phone. I have had senses, feelings about you. It took me a long time to have you tracked down. I had a sense that Heinz had a grandson, but until these dreams started, I did not know if I should contact you.
You say you're related to my grandfather?
Yes, Heinz was my brother. There is much about the family that you should know, Gabriel. Come to Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. It is our family home. I will tell you everything when you come. You must come immediately. You are in great danger there.
Look, I appreciate the family spirit and all, but frankly I don't know you from Adam, and I'm not going to fly off to Germany even if I could afford it.
Gabriel, please. If you won't listen, at least let me send you something. It is a journal from one of your ancestors. Promise me you will read it.
Well, I'm pretty busy.
Please, Gabriel, you are the last of our line. I am too old to carry on. You are our last hope. Please, for your family, read the journal.
All right. I'll look at it.
Good. Now be careful and come to me as soon as you can. Goodbye.
Gabriel minded.
Hey, kids.
Huh?
Bruno.
Gabe, pet. I just popped in to see if you're desperate enough to sell me that painting.
How much would you give me for it, Bruno?
Gabriel, don't you dare sell your father's painting.
Stay out of this, Grace.
Ooh, you're serious. You'll let me have it?
Yeah, I'll let you have it, all right. How much for the painting?
Well, I could give you 100. That's all I can let go at the moment, you know. My fares are so tied up.
Gabriel, $100 for your father's painting?
Grace, let me deal with this. Fine, it's yours.
Gabriel!
Here's the 100.
You better take good care of this, Bruno. This is not just another of your hip art pieces, you know.
Really? Well, I fully intend to make the most of its display, though not for your sake, I'm sure. At least in my shop, there'll be a chance of someone actually seeing it. I can't believe I actually got it. Just wait until I show Sid.
I don't believe you!
It's just a painting, Grace. There are things I have to do. I'm out of here. Try not to sell out the store while I'm gone.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's you. Miss Getty is not at home, sir. Can you tell me where she is? It's very important. She's visiting her mother's grave, Mr. Knight. Something even you can't be tasteless enough to want to interrupt. Malia.
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
I noticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else.
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
Whatever for.
I can't stop thinking about you. I've been in your thoughts, too. I can see it in your eyes.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that 1,000,000 times myself, but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you've got more money than God. Do you think I care? Do you think that's why I'm saying this?
No, I don't.
Why don't you come see my world? I have a little bookshop, St. George's on Bourbon.
I know.
See? I knew it. You're crazy about me, too. Come by tonight. Please. My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Damn it.
Two heavy, solid marble doors provide an entrance to the tomb. The marks are reddish in color and reminds Gabriel of crosses. They look like they've been here a few days at least.
Hi. Can I ask you just a few more questions?
Whatever, man.
Are you still interested in selling that crocodile mask?
Or you show me $100 and the mask is yours.
So, do you get many
We all...
$100 in cash.
I have $100. You still want to sell that crocodile mask?
That's $100, sure enough. The mask, it's yours, sir. Here you go. Careful it don't bite you now.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't you go forgetting your lagniappe. A free bottle of Master Gambling Oil.
The sign said I could get Lady Luck oil instead.
Well, I wasn't thinking a man as young as you would be needing that kind of remedying. But if you's having problems with your...
Oh, that's all right. Believe me, I don't need it. I'll just stick with this. Thanks, anyway.
Of course, it ain't none of my business if you do need it.
I don't need it.
Of course you don't.
It looks like the lecture is just starting. Gabriel decides to record the session.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of Africa, but the name Voodoo is actually a banner heading under which resides an entire body of distinct tribal belief systems. The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism. All of the subcults of African voodoo have certain things in common. The most important is the worship of a pantheon of spirits instead of the single deity that the Christian and Muslim systems have. Some of these spirits are elementals. Some relate to specific tasks or places. Some represent important tribal leaders who have died. This spirit worship is what makes voodoo so easily adaptable. With all those spirits, it's no problem to add a few more. Say, for example, the Virgin Mary. At the height of tribal Africa, warfare was common. The one tribe would conquer another, and the Loa, important in the conqueror's tribal system, would be adopted readily into the conquered tribe's Loa pantheon. In this way, many of the voodoo cults spread and mingled throughout tribal Africa, enriching the belief system and causing innumerable offshoots. The basis for the voodoo religion seems to be as old as man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices: animal totems, sympathetic magic, elemental spirits in the trees, the heavens, the bodies of the sick. Africa is believed by many to be the cradle of the human race. Some of the voodoo Loa may be as old as the Garden of Eden itself. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa, and this is called being ridden. The human worshipper is seen as a horse, and the Loa as the divine horseman. A person being ridden by a Loa takes on the characteristics of that spirit and becomes, in effect, merely a vessel for the more powerful entity. Some of the older original Africa Loa include Dambala, the great serpent god; Ezruli, the mistress of love; Papa Nebo, or Gede, the lord of death; Agwe, the spirit of water; Legba, spirit of the crossroads; and the cruelest and most dangerous, Ogun Badagri, the lord of destruction.
I gotta get more sleep at night.
Tribe-specific Loa can have as much or more power as the more widely worshipped Loa. For instance, a particular tribe might revere highly the Loa of an ancestor who was a legendary hunter or politician. Voodoo temples are called Haunfors. Their priests, Hungan or Bokors. Their priestesses, Mama Loa. In a voodoo Haunfor, there's a ritual circle marked by a center pole called a poto mitan. The ritual circle is prepared with a veve, a pattern of symbols. Each tribe's veve is slightly different, consisting of complex symbols that identify their special loa. During ritual conclaves, initiates dance under the supervision of a bokor and a mamaloa, or head priestess. The use of totems or animal masks and markings was not uncommon in the original African ceremonies. Now, though, all but the oldest sects have abandoned this practice. Ritual objects used during the conclaves include the ritual gourd or asson, the ritual knife or kubasa.
That knife gives me the chills.
The ritual whip or fouet cache, and the ritual coffin or seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the mamaloa for specific magical rituals. The mamaloa is the most powerful figure in any Voodoo sect. Voodoo is a truly matriarchal system. Even the bokor knows his power is limited. The mamaloa is the supreme woman. She, butterflies, fireflies.
Firelight. No, what is it? Gabriel?
What? I can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No, no, let me out. Help.
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my God, sorry.
Gabriel scans the bulletin board. Greek night at the Alpha Psi Omega frat house. It looks like it took place sometime last spring. There's a PA speaker on the wall. The seats are the fold-down kind. The podium. Partridge's throne. A projection screen dominates the front of the hall. There's a door on one side of the stage. A project
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow, this is great.
Uh-huh. Just don't, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Oh, forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and good luck.
Could I ask you a few questions, Madame Lorelei?
The only answers I give are given in my reading. I'm sure your poem would be quite interesting. Come on, boys. Hoopla!
Not a bad idea. Ooh, baby, I love the way you move.
Madame Lorelei winks knowingly at Gabriel and twitches her hip.
Yep, she wants me.
Thanks, boys.
Gabriel examines the veil with a magnifying glass. That sequin looks a little strange. Why, it's a snake scale. The foot. This is the first. Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to remove the snake scale from the veil. Those two objects would have no effect on each other. Gabriel has a Gabriel is carrying a scale he found. Those two that item.
I think this veil belongs to you.
Huh, my veil. I'm always losing those things. You have no idea. Well, darling, you're such a sweetie to return a lady's delicates, and so handsome as well.
Well,
And since you have such a clear interest in fortune-telling, let me see your hands. They look so strong. Perhaps they will make both our fortunes clear, no?
I wish something would.
Strong. Yes, and yet so delicate and flexible.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, good. I see a mysterious woman in your immediate future.
Madame Lorelei winks at Gabriel knowingly.
She is a dangerous one, dark and beautiful. Ah, I see the road of your life forking. And very soon.
The blood drains from Madame Lorelei's face in an instant. Sweat beads on her upper lip.
Are you okay?
They're all horses.
Oh, God! Beware! Beware!
What is it about me lately?
Gabriel doesn't want to take that out of the park.
Hey, nice precinct.
Think so? That's peachy. That means more to me than you could know. Hey, it's a beignet guy.
Great, I'm starved.
Stay put, you. Hey, grab me 3, would ya?
Sure.
Thanks. What?
Do you know anything about Veve?
Reves? Never heard of it.
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
You son of... Give me back my badge. Now, Knight!
Sure. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Yeah? Well, you borrow it again in your history. Now, about today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. Well, he's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning to Jackson Square. Pushing coke? He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. You been present at the so-called voodoo ritual? I don't know nothing. I told you. Oh, come on now, you can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look, I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go, man.
Now, you relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were plainclothesmen.
Plain clothes, like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Now, who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. Now, you tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you in the witness protection program. But you have to earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Don't make me laugh. Jesus, just let me out of here.
Now, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
By now they know I'm here. I mean, it's different when I'm supposed to come here. Well, if I can send a message. Tell him I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's frickin' useless. Take him back to detaining, would you, Tony? I tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum and damn the civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn! We only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I might have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. For the book, I mean. Maybe you can punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction, that's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do. Can I ask...
Do
you know anything...
What?
Bebes. They're ritualistic patterns used in voodoo. You know, like those marks we found around the body.
You know what the department says about that, Knight. That voodoo stuff is faked.
Yeah, well, they're wrong. These bebes...
Look, just stop worrying about them marks. I don't think they're relevant.
What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
It sure as hell ain't going well. There's a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens. I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
There's not... Gabriel magnifies the scale from the fortune teller. The iridescent scale is hued olive green. It doesn't seem to match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain. Gabriel magnifies the shed skin from Magentia Moonbeam's snake. The snake scales are hued brown. They don't match the scale from Lake Pontchartrain. It's the shed.
I'm going to hit the road.
Later, Knight.
You're back. You know, you really freaked me out running off like that. Yoo-hoo! Anybody home?
Stay away from Maryagetti, or you shall pay with your life.
What the hell is going on?
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you have walked into my private office, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
An old globe sits atop Hartridge's file cabinet. The door leads back to the lecture hall. Dr. Hartridge's office is crowded with masks, carved figures, and strange objects. Exotic fish lend even more color to the cluttered office. The squatter grins maliciously at Gabriel. It's an enormous stone head. Dr. Hartridge's office is crowded with masks, carved figures, and strange objects. Dr. Hartridge's desk is remarkably neat, especially considering the rest of the room. It's Hartridge's file cabinet. Dr. Hartridge's office is crowded with masks, carved figures. The carved stone head looks African and very old. That mask is quite hideous. Dr. Hartridge is sharp-eyed and even sharper-tongued. When he condescends to look at Gabriel at all, it's with a dismissive glare. The visitor's chair looks unsteady and a little low to the ground.
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treats voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing or the power they're playing with.
What do you know about...
As I said, I don't know anything but what the papers say. According to them, there's no reason for me to be interested.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
What else can you tell me about New Orleans?
The Catholic Church has always dominated in New Orleans, and its imagery, in turn, has dominated New Orleans voodoo.
What else can you...
If there's more you wish to know, perhaps you should read my books.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has been a sacred day since the earliest times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Do you have any idea what Cabri sans Corps means?
Cabri sans corps? Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, bulls, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
What was that translation for?
I'm not in the habit of...
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of Voodoo somewhat interesting from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true Voodoo practices.
Do you know any...
I'm not in the...
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African Voodoo religions.
Do you know any...
I'm not in the...
Tell me about Veves.
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about...
If you'd taken notes...
Have you ever heard of a Schottenjäger?
I'm afraid I can't help you there, Mr. Knight.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
No.
Fine.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's, very rare. Most Voodoo practices do not include human sacrifice as a matter of record, but it is theoretically possible if that's the gods' demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Azuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Azuli is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Hungan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that the Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me...
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most Voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Tell me...
I wouldn't dwell...
The photo wouldn't affect that.
Is there anything you can tell me about the voodoo aspects of this photograph?
This is serious Voodoo ritual. Nasty stuff.
In what way?
Let's see. I can't make out much detail from this photograph. Except for the corpse, of course. But the wound, the face, and what little I can see of the ritual paraphernalia. Reminds me of certain black Voodoo practices. Very rare. I've never witnessed them myself, you understand.
Really? Interesting. Thanks. Can you tell me anything about this?
No, I'm afraid I can't.
Can you tell me anything about this?
No, I've never seen those symbols. Therefore, they're probably meaningless.
Really? Are you sure?
I am never wrong, Mr. Knight. Therefore, sure is not in my vocabulary.
Can you tell me anything about this pattern?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back. Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating veve. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself. Each of the symbols in the veve represents something, a loa, a place. Where did you get this?
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No, you're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic. The newspapers are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this veve is authentic, then?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm, undercover. You can contact me at the St. George's bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this if you don't mind.
Can you tell me anything about this?
No, I'm afraid I can't.
Up for a few...
Gee.
Tell me what you mean by black voodoo.
Well, like any religion, the beliefs can tend toward positive or negative ends. Can be used for good or evil. Christianity, for example, has its doppelganger, Satanism. Anytime you attempt to set up an icon to explain evil, you invite some warped mind to worship it. The same is true of voodoo. There are those who are drawn by and desire personal power from the darker, bloodier loa.
Can you give me an example of black voodoo?
All right. There is a very secret, very dark cult in Haiti called the Cult de Mort, Cult of the Dead. Their primary law is Baba Nebo, Loa of the Cemetery. They practice a particularly disgusting form of necromancy, magic using the dead. They dig up corpses and use their decaying bodies for various spells and curses.
Can you give me another example of black voodoo?
In tribal Africa there were, and still are, black bokors. Shamans bent towards the dark, who not only practiced necromancy, but also human sacrifice.
Is there any...
Only that if it's being practiced in this city, none of us are safe.
What can you tell...
I'm not in the habit of...
That wouldn't be...
I'll see you later.
Good day, Mr. Knight.
those two objects. It would be better.
Yes? Who is it?
I have some fine magazine subscriptions for sale.
I'm sorry, but I'm not interested.
I've got some great pet supplies. Could you cool little doggy?
Castro has everything he needs. Don't you, Castro?
Thanks a lot, Castro. Wrong hat.
Fine.
All right, but this is private. The things I do for my art.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Father McLaughlin to see you.
Father McLaughlin, you say? You must be new in the parish. I'm so pleased to meet you, Father. Do come in.
Thank you, my child.
Please be seated, Father.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
The painting behind the couch is a Madonna and Child. Madame finds comfort in these iconic images, it seems. Madame seems to like candles. Gabriel wonders if these two are specialties of Mr. Walker's shop. The upholstered chair is less comfortable than it looks. Madame's parlor is full of carefully dusted and polished relics of her past. There's an old-fashioned jewelry box on the coffee table. The tea service has been polished recently. Madame uses it with her Creole sisters, perhaps? Madame Cassanu looks fragile and pale under a thick layer of face powder. The tea service has been polished recently. A small table holds a lamp, a photo, and a plaster saint.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions, my child?
Of course not, mon père.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
People think I'm just a foolish old woman, but I know the things they do. My family's been in New Orleans since 1750, so I know more than most. Voodoo people are all over this city, in the shops, everywhere. They'll curse you like that, and most people don't even notice. Spit on your bread at the bakery. Take strands of your hair at the store when you try on the clothes. You have to be so careful. But I know their ways, so I can protect myself. I know how to use the magic too, and I can counteract their evil spells.
Tell me more about voodoo in New Orleans.
It's just plain evil. It's dangerous to even discuss it.
Tell me,
It's
what do you know about the voodoo murders?
voodoo murders. Ha! They are nothing new to me, father. They happen all the time. I hardly go out anymore. It's too dangerous in the streets. They can get you anywhere, you know, even here in this room. But I try not to let them know about me. That's the best way.
What do you know? Shh. What can you tell me about New Orleans?
The only true New Orleanians are of French origin, you know. My family were among the original settlers of New Orleans. They came here from France. The Creole society used to be so gay in New Orleans. Now it barely hangs on by its fingernails.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
You know, I can stroll the streets of the French Quarter and see in my mind's eye the way it used to be. It was wonderful in the old days.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans isn't what it used to be, I can tell you. There's too few of the real people left.
What can you...
New Orleans isn't...
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? They're evil creatures. Did you know that evil people can send them into your dreams? They can. That's why I never sleep.
Right, thanks. Do you know anything?
It would be bad luck to talk about that anymore.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve?
What can you...
I don't think I should say any more about that.
Do you have any idea what Cabri sans corps means?
Mais oui, I know. I bet you do not, father, n'est-ce pas?
It means goat without horns.
Oh, father, you surprise me. You do know what it means. You know what they mean by goat without horns, don't you? A human being. That's right. Slit your throat, cut out your heart. Pure evil murder.
That Cabri sans corps thing.
Do not continue to tease me, father. You know what it means as well as I.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
She was only a front for the real evildoers, father. And that's the truth about Marie Laveau.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No, father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about veves?
No, father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Oh, yes, father. It is the wickedest kind. The kind they practice here in New Orleans.
Tell me more about black voodoo.
I already told you, black voodoo is what they practice here.
Tell me more.
I already...
Have you ever heard of a Schattenjäger?
No, father. I don't know anything about that.
Do you know anything about human sacrifice here in New Orleans?
Well, my great-grandmother could tell stories. She saw it. People say that sort of thing wasn't done in New Orleans. But the real voodoo queens did it. Oh, yes.
Can you tell me?
What is there to tell? They cut your heart out.
Who were the real voodoo queens?
Well, my great-grandmother told me that Laveau was just a front. a flamboyant decoy. She distracted authorities from the real voodoo queen of New Orleans. It's been the same one for almost 200 years. She's head of a secret voodoo en fort. That's what they call their temples, you know. It's so secret, most of the voodoo people in the city don't even know about it. The real voodoo queen controlled Lavaux, gave her a little bit of power, and used her like a puppet.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound four.
Well, I've never seen it. I wouldn't go near it if you paid me. But it's here in Orleans, I guarantee it. I hear the drums at night, oh yes. That's why I am so ill. I tell you, those drums. But we shouldn't talk about it. They'll hear us. It's the devil's work that happens there, I can tell you. I'll show you something. Something secret. You mustn't tell anyone, Father.
I swear on my collar.
Here it is, mon père. A true object of evil if there ever was one.
It radiates something, all right.
It belonged to my great-grandmother. She told my mother that it was a token to gain entrance to the real voodoo ceremonies.
You don't say.
To tell you the truth, I always felt nervous about having it in the house. You know, evil influence and all.
Oh, I can see how you would, yes.
And yet, I could never part with it. It's been in the family for generations. Would you bless it for me, Father? I feel strange asking such a thing of you, but surely you understand.
Bless this bracelet of a snake, even though its vibes aren't great. Let it do nobody harm when they wear it on their arm. Voodoo spirits, go away, don't come back another day. And now, let us pray.
Gabriel has a thought about the clay.
Bless, oh bless this circlet of silver. Take the curse, oh take it, Wilbur.
A lovely blessing, mon père.
Yes, I think it made a lasting impression. Here you go.
Ah, I feel so much better now.
It's so nice of you to invite me in.
Ah, but no, mon père. I am always happy to see one of the good fathers.
Do you find the weather to your liking?
It's terribly humid. I only go out in the morning and evening.
Have you been attending Mass regularly, my child?
Oh, yes, Father. I attend Mass every morning. Many don't these days, you know.
You are dedicated, madame. Well, madame, I must be going.
Of course, Father. I know how busy you must be tending your flock.
There's not much of. There's not much. There's not much.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this. Excuse me. I hate to interrupt your game, but could I ask you a few questions?
But game! This isn't a game! It's a slaughter!
He's right, you know, so let me die in peace, would you?
Nothing like a good game of chess, huh?
Yeah, well, this isn't a good game. This is torture.
Oh well. Have fun.
The label reads Master Gambling Oil, but no ingredients, warnings, or instructions are included.
Got a second, Sam? It's about your game.
I don't have a game. That's my problem. Don't you touch those chess pieces while I'm gone, you bastard.
I never needed a cheat yet, you loser.
Thought you might be interested in this gambling oil.
Let me see that. Master Gambling Oil. What's it for?
Don't you ever wonder why Marcus wins every time?
Get out of here. Marcus would never do something like this.
Well, if that's what you want to believe. This is a powerful voodoo oil.
Ah, go on. Really?
This voodoo oil could make a nun get lucky.
Really? You think it really works, huh?
I'd stake my reputation as a novelist on it.
And you say Marcus uses this. That explains a lot. Let me see that bottle. Oh, this looks authentic.
Oh, it is.
If I could really beat that bastard. Stonewall, give me a Pim's cup, would you?
Coming up, Sam.
How much you think I'd have put in here?
Careful. You don't want to overdo it. Too much luck can be dangerous.
Ha! There's no such thing as too much. Now stand back.
Come on already. I'm ready to checkmate.
We'll see about that, Mr. Schmuddy Big Mouth. Checkmate! Checkmate, you bastard!
Son of a bitch.
20 years I've been waiting to say that. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate!
You are the biggest butthead Sam Singleton that I ever met.
Checkmate!
You, Aaron, just put this chessboard where the sun don't shine.
Hallelujah! I did it! Yippee!
Nice game.
Nice game. Hell, I was brilliant! Course, I gotta give some of the credit to that oil of yours. I've been losing to that guy for 20 years. If you ever need a favor, you come to Sandy here.
Will do. Can I ask you some questions now?
Luke, I'd be glad to help you out, but I've been stuck in this bot too long to know much about anything.
So, how do you feel now?
Couldn't be better.
So, how do you feel now?
Couldn't be better.
Sam is a changed man since his major victory.
Could you do anything with this?
What is this? A clay mold? Well, I am a jeweler, you know. And I owe you one. Would you like me to cast this for you?
If you can.
You got it, pal. Actually, it'll be a pleasure to get my tools out. First time in years.
I've been too busy playing that goddamn game. I'll have the bracelet tomorrow. Meet me here.
Great, thanks. Does this mean anything to you?
Not really.
Could I ask you if you...
Sure.
Do you know anything about Veves?
Never heard of it.
Do you know anything about black voodoo?
Black voodoo? Nah. I prefer not to think about that kind of stuff personally. Crime, perversion, weirdos. Just makes me depressed.
Tell me about this...
Don't know what else I could say.
Can you tell me anything about a secret voodoo hound fool?
Are you kidding? Around here? Hope they aren't serving drinks.
Well, if they are, I don't think anyone in his right mind would want one. Can I ask you something?
I'm here to...
Right.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Excuse me, I'm going inside.
Oh, excuse me, I'm afraid St. George's is closed for the day.
I'm not a customer. I'm here to see the owner.
Why don't you just leave your name and number with me, and I'll tell him you stopped by.
Listen, if Gabriel is here, he'll want to see me. Is he here?
Really couldn't say for certain, but in the morning.
Gracie, say goodnight.
Ugh.
You came. I didn't think you would.
I didn't think I would either.
Your eyes. Oh, I could show you around a little. It's not much.
Please, don't. I couldn't focus on much of anything right now.
Yeah, I know. God, what is it about you?
Just shut up and kiss me.